All right, C1x Road to launch, day 29. Gonna be another shorter video today. Been getting distracted most of the day, and I don't think I'll be recording too long. Spent some time earlier today. We've got a nice little Excel spreadsheet for tracking some of the data that I'll be pulling in from Firebase. All I'm going to be doing is just updating totals here. And then this table is going to auto-populate, and these graphs are going to auto-populate. Show our progress over the past 3 months, be usage stats throughout the app. Spent a little time putting that together, but on to some app-specific stuff. I've been going back and forth with ChatGPT for a little bit on what I need to do to take the Firestore database out of test mode and getting it ready for production. I think I've got a decent idea here, but I'm probably going to do that off video. One thing I am going to do is create this function to pull all values for logging. So currently in the round display view, I'm hitting this functions button, and that is that's just the button I'm using to read some values from the app. So I'm going to take all of this out. We're going to go to Firebase data logging, and then I'm going to have a future void here called read all Firebase data for developer. I'm going to add the for developer in there just so I know it's for me. I shouldn't need it, but why not? Sharded management, this one is doing a get total. I just need to pass the counter store name. So I think I can just use it like this. And I'm just going to create a function with all of them. I did check my usage stats. I guess I'm one space off on every single one of these. There we go. And they were not very high. I think reads and write totals that I'm allowed for the day to stay under the free tier, it was like 20 and 50,000 or something. After all the writes I did yesterday, new variables, I read most of them a couple times. I'm barely over 2K. The reads value, at least as of right now, users are not going to have the ability to read from the database, which is intentional. It's really just analytics for my purposes at the moment. So the only time the reads should ever go up is when I'm reading values once a week. Maybe I do it 2 or 3 times, but this is probably what it's going to max out at. I might push it up to 4 or 5K, but definitely never close to the 20 or 50K total. Writes is so high because I'm initializing all of them, so it's writing every single one of the 100 shards that I'm creating when I initialize each collection in here. So every single one of these documents is a write, but that only happens on initialization. When a user downloads the app or scores around or something, it only counts each document that it writes to as one write, and they're only going to be writing to one. So if a user does all of these things in one day, it's going to be, what do I have, 12 things here, so it's going to be 12 writes. That's all it's going to be. If a user does every single thing on here once, even if they play the 18 holes, get some pars, birdies, it's like maybe 50 writes per user per day, which means that I would need to get up to like 1,000 users extremely active in the app for me to even have to start thinking about paying, like, what was it, 20 cents a day or 20 cents a month or something. Super cheap. So no issue with the statistics, but I probably should have left that. It's alright, we can probably do it from memory here. Well, I'll pull it up anyways. Why not? Pull up the spreadsheet just to make sure I'm getting them all. Final app downloads. is equal to downloads counter. We can make these all local, rounds scored. Manual courses added, global courses added, holes played. I think I'm only at 4 variables. Yeah. So we have these 4, we go to holes played, and then we have all the scoring. Final aces, final albatrosses, final birdies, final pars, final bogeys, final, yep, perfect. All right, and then we're gonna go print app downloads. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so now read all Firebase data for developer. Now in our main function under app launch, underneath initialize all shards, I'm going to go unawait. I guess I'll uncomment it for a second. Unawaited. Read all Firebase data for developer. There we go. Unawaited, just so it's not slowing down my own usage of the app when I'm simulating something, in case I want to hit run and mess around with something else if it's being slow. But yeah, so now all I should have to do is, if I want to, uncomment this, and then it should print all of the values for me down here. So we should be good. I added commenting that out as part of my checklist for publishing updates, this line right here. Firebase logging function, just to print the information out. So that's done. I'm going to do these 2 things off video. Comment it out. Should be good. I don't mind it being, but I guess it's already local, so you don't want it to. Fine. Just to get rid of the warning. Okay. All right, so I'm done with that. And then I noticed a bug earlier today on the score summary. It's never done it for me on a simulator, so I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning is, and I'll try and show it here. But on my phone, these distance values will occasionally wrap. And what I mean by that, it seems to only happen with, well, honestly, I don't know. I can't tell when it seems to happen. It's definitely not consistent, but it's some of the numbers will wrap. Like if you look at the distance values there, 2 of them wrap to another line. I don't understand how. This was me testing it. So this is pretty close to matching exactly what I'm looking at on my phone right now. Distances are all exactly the same, and it's not wrapping at all. But I'm looking at it, clearly it's an issue. So we are going to go to the whole breakdown cards. Pars are not going to be an issue, but distances are. So let's see how I'm doing this here. Build icon. Nope. Build whole number cell. Distance. What else am I using that for? I use it for the whole number. I wonder if I just just make the text a little bit smaller for distances. Like it's not build par, build whole number cell. Let's go bool. Easy solution for right now, I think. For distance 16, 18. Widget dot. Oh, const, I think. Yeah. So we're gonna just make the font size 16 for distances if it is for distance, and then when I call it down here, whole number is gonna be false. This will be false. This is gonna be true. And false, false. All right, let's update that, see if I can see the distances get a little bit smaller. Yeah. I think I'm gonna try that. It is, I mean, most of them are fitting. I don't know if certain numbers are wider than others. I assume that is the case. But I can't, like for example, 0 seems to be wider than 5. That seems to be an issue. 4 seems to cause issues. 4 is definitely a problem. 4 is a problem, and 0 is a problem. But I need the text to be consistent all the way across. And I don't really want to squeeze everything in tighter. It's already pretty tight. So I think I'm going to roll with that. It's not something I don't want to open up another simulator for it. I don't have the issue here. We made him smaller. We'll see if that fixes it. I'm just going to say addressed issue where whole distances would occasionally wrap to the next line. Yeah, with how few of them are wrapping, I have to assume that the overflow is super minimal. What I can do, actually, and what I should be doing here is I can set max lines. Is it under text? It is. Max lines 1. I think the combination of those two things should help. Yeah. Okay. Now, new stats. So item 1, I don't even know if I want to address it yet, but it's going to be, where do I throw my round grade at? Where do I want to put that piece of information? Part of me really wants to fit it on this view, just because I think it would be a fun thing to share. It'd be really easy just to move it down here, but I just don't really want to. Everything else takes up quite a bit of space. And it kind of needs to be its own thing. I think right now I just move it down, which is going to be annoying. But we have the calculation already done. I am saving it. So I think as a part of what I'm going to be trying to do here with these new graphics, I might just go ahead and remove that functions button. No, still down. Right? Because I'm going to be trying to show it anyways. We'll just comment it out right now in case I need a quick test, but we already have it in our array. The variable is updated, so we can call the the division grade if we need to. It's probably something that the round grade and then all of these other stats around. I might loop them into our stats down here into this whole display, because that's probably where some of these other ones are going to go to. I was thinking about what I needed to do to implement these new stats. So the first step, the round to C1x round grade, we already have the calculation in there for. For all the other ones, we need to create the calculations. I've got that stat organization file where I put the stats in an order. That's where all of the graphics are created. That's kind of the command center. I built it that way intentionally in a past video. So I think that as long as I can get the calculations all good, it should not be too complicated to implement. But we will start with that. Individual stat calculations. So the way that I'm typically doing this is for every single hole, I'm just running through a for loop. I've got a hole number, I've got all of this data to pass, and it's just going to be a question of what can I do with it. So C1x round grade, I will leave up total shots thrown, strokes for a round, but might be fun in the all stats view. Yeah, it probably would be. User string is user score. Okay, so this is probably going to be pretty easy to just calculate here. Do I want just total strokes? I guess where do I calculate their whole score? Do I calculate that? I pass user whole scores. Do I ever use it? Yeah, I do right there. So I could just sum the user whole scores. Right, on the main menu, when I create a round, do I set the length of it? It's going to be my next question. I do not. Let's go to the round scorecard. User whole scores, save scorecard information. User whole scores, handle round finished. Let's go find where I call that function. Nope, not there. Here we go. All right, user whole scores equals return user whole scores array. Return user whole, here we go. Whole strokes, so this function just mirrors my scoring. User whole scores add, whole strokes, return user whole scores. Okay. For whole, and then I add it. So it's always the correct length. That was what I wanted to check. I'm doing it based off of whole pars, which I know is the correct length. I'm adding it each hole. So if you play an 18-hole course, then when I look at user whole scores here, it will be 18 values in an array. So I can just do a var total strokes equals 0 for every hole total strokes plus equal to user whole scores whole. And that's going to be that. So that's our calculation now for total strokes. Single round calcs. Do I use that anywhere? Or is this just useless? I don't think I use this anywhere. I don't. Makes me a little nervous just to flat out delete it. So I am going to comment it out just for the moment. But this is what we need. So C1x grade, I do not need to calculate here. Total strokes is going to be our variable to use. I'm just going to make a list down here so I know to add them. Average shots per hole Okay. Can do that. So after we've gone through all the holes, final average shots per hole is equal to total to double divided by, yeah, I don't really want to round it though, so I probably don't need parentheses here. How do I truncate this to, let's hop over to ChatGPT here. I'll create a new chat so I have that at the bottom. How do I truncate this to 2 decimals? I forget what the exact syntax is for it, but I feel like I already have a truncate to 2 decimals. General math. Calculate to 2 decimals. Yeah, I do. Var average strokes per hole is equal to calculate to 2 decimals, and then the numerator can be, does it take, what does it take? It takes integers. Just fine. Average strokes per hole is going to be my value there. So I can probably just do a final. And then here we've got average strokes per hole. Okay. Calculation for that is done. Average shots per hole, putt comeback rate, percent of missed C1x and circle 2 putts that are followed by a C1x or C2 make. That is fun. Okay, so I have C2 putting misses. I have C1x putting misses. Right? C1x putting, total C1x putting. Makes and attempts. So we're going to go final total C1x and C2 misses is equal to total C1x putting 1 minus total C1x. Yeah, I was on it there. Plus, so 1 is attempts, 0 is makes for both of these. This would be 1, the index of 1, this would be the index of 0. So I've got attempts and makes. That total doesn't help me at all. I don't know why I'm calculating the total. Has to be followed by. This is probably going to need to be I'm going to back this out. This is going to need to be an individual stack calculation. Let's go up here just because I want to kind of use these as a starting point. Here I want to return probably the same way I return the putting. C1x and C2. We'll just call it putting comeback rate. Yeah, give me the shot sequence. All right, we're gonna go I use that shot spacer here as well. So we're gonna go var C1x makes equals 0. C1x attempts C2 makes. I don't need makes actually. I do need attempts. Put comeback opportunities. Put comeback makes equals 0. I'm going to grab this, throw it here. I'm going to guess that I'm going to want that shot spacer again. All right, so for each shot, if all labels C2 put options contains it, or all labels C1 putting options contains it, then I go, it needs to be a miss. So I think this means that they took a putt. Else if all labels basket, we add 1, it goes to the next shot. If it's equal to the basket and shot spacer is 1, then we don't do anything because that means they just made the putt. If they miss the putt, else if shot spacer is equal to 1, so it's the putt first. Then it's the distance. The distance is where this comes in. If they miss it, let's go maybe I just leave that as is. Shot spacer is equal to 1. If they make it, we do nothing. We just reset, which is fine. If they did miss it, then let's make shot spacer 2. Let's go var time for comeback is equal to false. Shot spacer is equal to 0. Time comeback is equal to true. Let's go if time for comeback this is where I need to increment this. The issue is there's going to be at least 3 shots that I have to get through for that to happen. If time for comeback is true, and man, what's a good way to do this? C2 putt options contains it. This is the start of it. We got to register if they're putting. I don't think I like the name of this. Let's go. Is first putt false? Bar is second putt. Is first putt equals true. If they make it, is first putt equals false. Is first putt equals false. Is second putt equals true. And then I think I get rid of this. Else if is first putt if they miss it, its second putt is true. So let's add parentheses around this, and is second putt. So if second putt I think I have an idea of how to do this. I just want it to read easier. So the first putt is still false, and they're attempting a putt in circle 1 or circle 2. If second putt is false, meaning that they haven't taken the first putt yet, or we reset for whatever reason, then we just set it to true, and then we go to the next shot. On the next shot, so this is the only way to make is first putt true. And then regardless of which one of these evaluates, we're setting it to false. If is second putt and all, let me go take a peek at my scoring options here. Putt distance options. It's not so much that. Penalty, a throw in, tee or basket. So they would have 3 shots to make it in the basket. Anything less than that. Bar timing for second putt equals 0. Because I need fairway rough, static final, all options except putting, all labor. We can just do fairway. This should just be basket and throwing. Got fairway, rough, penalty. Throw-in is not an option when you're inside of C1 or C2. Although it could be. This is tricky because like if they miss a circle 2 putt, somehow end up outside of circle 2 and then throw it in, I want that to count. I don't want them to be penalized for it. But then the next shot would have to be thrown. All right, so let's just go fairway rough, penalty, tee. Might as well, I guess, fairway rough, penalty, tee. All options except putting. So, all options are all labels. All options except putting contains shot sequence shot. Then we just reset. Is second putt equals false? Is first putt equals false? No, I can't do that. I take that back. Timing for is equal to 0. What I could do is add another and here. Shot sequence dot length is greater than shot plus 1. So let's say we're on the second shot. The length of it is 3, so shot's going to be 1 there. So it could be greater than or equal to. If shot is 1, the length is 3, that means the indexes in the array are 0, 1, and 2. So if I want to check, if shot's 1, I want to check what 2 is. That means that the length would need to be greater than 2. It would need to be 3. Yeah. And then I can do and shot sequence shot plus 1 does not equal basket. What I could do, actually what I should do here, is we're going to get rid of this. If shot sequence is equal to basket, putt comeback makes plus plus. And then otherwise I set it to false. Or throw-in, not basket. Does that work at all? timing for second putt is equal to 0. Required. Else. So I'm trying to use this block as a check against wildly missing putts and throwing in. And now I just need normal scenarios. So is second putt. I don't want any of this running unless that's true. Excuse me. If any of those driving options are a part of the hole, meaning that they missed a putt really badly, then and it's not the last shot, which it wouldn't be if that was true, but I'll leave the check in just in case. And it is the first shot after I'm setting second putt is true, which would be them attempting that shot. Okay. So now, else if, keep taking my glasses off and putting them back on. I don't know. Is second putt and because when else if this is not true, this actually should, I think the timing for second putt should go down here. So here it's just if it is second putt and they're driving, that happens. Else if is second putt and timing for second putt is less than 2. Plus. So the idea here is that we set the second putt as true, assuming they're from circle 2 or circle 1 right now. So I'm going to put this at the top just because it's the right sequence. Nothing in this block runs unless is first putt is true or is second putt is equal to false. And if we set is second putt equal to true here and first putt is equal to false, then we're skipping past all of this. This is my driving argument. So if it is first putt, meaning we had the distance, and then on the very next shot they click circle 2 again. We're on to, meaning they missed a circle 2 putt, or let's say they missed circle 2 putt, they're on circle 1. So circle 1 is the last shot entered. Then putt comeback opportunities. if fairway rough penalty T. I only want to add an attempt. Maybe we'll stop all options except putting. Contains shot sequence shot. If it does not contain those, meaning that they are putting, there's definitely an easier way for me to do that. If, well, I guess this is probably what I should have been asking first, because I'm trying to account for if they're like in circle 2, they throw it into the fairway and then throw in. I was like, oh, that should count, but am I even going to count that as an attempt? I don't think so. Putt comebacks, I want to be, you missed a putt inside the circle, you're still inside the circle. Circle 2 or circle 1. So then I can add this too. I'm resetting first putt if all labels dot putting options. No. Putt distance options. No. Putting locations. So first putt was true. It doesn't contain in the basket. We're going to reset it. If the next shot was in circle 1 or circle 2, which it would be, then we're going to add to the opportunity is second putt is true, which I think means that here I can get rid of this, because I'm disregarding now shots landing in the fairway, throw-ins, etc. If second putt, so if they're in circle 1, then there's no way that they made a comeback putt unless basket is included within the first, what, like 2 shots? We're going to add to it if shot sequence shot makes false and 0. Else if is second putt. So timing starts at 0 here. Yeah, we'll just make sure I'm initializing it to 0 there. I just set it to be equal to true though. And then here I add 1 to it. Becomes 1. The next one should be the distance. So I add 2. And then the last one I think this works. I'm really not super convinced. and then we return it. I mean, there's one good way to find out, right? Put comeback makes, put comeback opportunities, and then I would come down here. So we'd go like var total putting comebacks. It's going to be 0, 0. Successes attempts. And then we're just going to tack onto this is equal to putting comeback rate. Total putting comebacks. Like so. And then maybe for logging purposes, I just print that. That'd be useful. I can try to do one of each and see if I've got them both. Total putting comebacks. All right, that one was a little tougher. I missed C1x, C2 putts that are followed by a C1x or C2 make. Bar indicators. Oh, yep, incoming. All right, we're gonna cut it short. So we got stats done for all of these 4. Bar indicators for typical putting distances. That one will be pretty easy. That'll just be checking those values. Definitely not quite as convoluted as that might have just become. Actually, I think instead of printing it here, I want to print it in that. So I can just do hole by hole. Print hole, hole, guess I don't. Never mind. Let's back that out. Let's add it back there. Okay. This should be a pretty easy stack to pull. This one will be interesting, but it'll just be totaling scores from the front 9 and back 9. That'll be a unique one. Not overly hard. Huh. And just total numbers. Okay. Yeah, I mean the total numbers one should be easy too, just because I'm already added the calculation for, what was that, for average strokes per hole. Total strokes, where is that at? Up here. So I have total strokes, and then I have my C1 putting attempts and C2 putting attempts. So it'll just be subtracting those from each other. Should be pretty easy. But yeah, so we'll call it there. Very short video today. But got stats for what? 4 of these total. We've got 5 to go still. Once I get the calculations done, it'll just be adding them to that stat organization file, which is this. So we'll add the keys, add the mapping, and then we can create some new graphics maybe inside of this individual stat graphics folder. To display those, I think the main new graphic that we're going to need to create is for that C1x round grade, showing it by division. But yeah, so that's going to take me a little while longer. After that, I want to add the ability to change the whole parse per round, which is that button we added yesterday, and then we're on to the watch version. So I might try and rep some of this out. Maybe I'll do another video later. We'll see. But we're going to call it there for this one. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.